Heyo, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome in. It is Tuesday, and that means it's time for the Table Talk Show. We've got so many cool folks hanging out today. Zykram, welcome in. The Lurking Writer, welcome, and thank you so much for the resub. That is 18 months. You are ridiculous, and I appreciate you. Rex and Exile. Who am I missing? Am I missing anyone? Full Rubber Bot. But, you know, we've always got Full Rubber hanging out. So, welcome in, y'all. We are Kay. We are David. Matt, welcome on in. I was just saying to David, I hope Matt's going to be here because we're going to talk about Starfinder and, by extension, Pathfinder 2e, because those are compatible. Welcome on in, Ribonanza. It's good to see you, Vivian. So, Friday, I will not be doing Weird Wilds War. I'm sad about that. But Saturday, if you go over to Dax's channel, you can see me playing Star Wars for charity. Hello, Alaria. Welcome in. We'll be doing Star Wars for charity, 1 p.m. Pacific. 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 9:30 p.m. BST. I know a couple time zone conversions. I'm impressing myself.
For no reason whatsoever.
For no reason whatsoever. And then, as always, every Tuesday, find us here doing this, except last week. Sorry, y'all. I was not feeling well last week. I'm still a little up. David has had to hear. It's been a week and a bit, but all gonna survive, right? Right. We are all going to survive because we did not get raptured today. There, David. I made the joke, so you didn't have to.
Okay.
But you can carry on if you need. Speaking of David, who the heck is you and what the heck is we doing here? Hey, DC, welcome on in.
Hi, DC. I am sure that none of you can guess my favorite musical, nor tell me why it is my favorite musical.
Cats.
But God, no. Look, I may have shitty taste in beer. I may have shitty taste in a lot of things. And some would argue I have shitty taste in musicals, but it's not that bad. And full disclosure, I have never seen Cats, but I have known precisely two people. And for people who don't know, I spent a lot of time, or not a lot of time, but I spent a couple of years doing music journalism. And that included hanging out with a bunch of musical theater kids. And so, of course, topics of musicals came up often. People broke into song often. However, I've known precisely two people who did not absolutely detest Cats. And they were two of the worst people I've met in my life.
Cake Tease loves Cats, specifically the new movie, specifically because it's like the make fun of it level of bad.
Okay, loving it because it's bad, that's, you can get past that. But people who are like, this is unironically good, right? I'm stunned. I'm stunned
My
that
Fair Lady,
there's
Hades
been
Town,
this kind of response.
Dr. Horrible, Repo the Genetic Opera, which does seem like a thing that you would be into.
There is a song from Repo the Genetic Opera that I love so much that is on one of my playlists. Anyway.
I was wondering if a young William Shatner had ever been in a musical, but alas, he avoided them.
Look,
Oklahoma?
If young William Shatner, and I understand that the general consensus is William Shatner is a bad person, but three things about William Shatner. One, he was perfectly nice to me and even called off his bodyguard, was like, nah, you don't have to tackle this guy. Because the bodyguard saw me getting like really excited. Two, when he went into space, he came back humbled. And three, while I have heard that he has behaved horribly when it comes to like service people, which makes you a bad person. And I'm willing to be wrong here, but I have never heard stories about him being shitty to fans. And again, not saying William Shatner is a good person. I will say that I unironically love William Shatner because Captain Kirk. Look, not to go on a Star Trek rant. However, too many
How
people
are they going to derail us today?
Right. Too many people reference the original series without having watched the original series. And it's really frustrating because people say things about Captain Kirk, and it's like you don't understand. Like all the people who ship Kirk and Spock, it's like, okay, that's fine. It's cute. You're shipping them. However, the ship should be Kirk's yearning for Spock and Spock either being oblivious and or ignoring it. Because Spock and Uhura being a thing wasn't a thing they invented for the 2009 reboot. That was fucking canon in the original series, except that was an interracial relationship, even though Spock was an alien, and they couldn't so they had to hint at it. And also there was so much banging happening on the anyway. I'm done. Anyway, hi, I'm David. And this is the Chaotic Wholesome Tuesday talk show where every week we get derailed by David rant about Star Trek and talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be a better person, how to ship better, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
I'm afraid to read off chat to see what other rabbit holes this will send it down. But I do appreciate Rex and the full power to the rant engines. A Lurking Writer, before the stream, one of our little welcome things is how will they derail us today? And Lurking Writer's prediction was Centaurs in space. And Lurking Writer got it, the in space part correct. Well done. Of the Omegaverse and Impreg is in part rooted in Spock-Kirk relationships before it became a more well-known thing with Supernatural. So much of fandom and shipping came out of Kirk and Spock. So much of it.
No one ever talks about how Dr. McCoy is firmly in the cuck chair. Like the relationship between these three, and let's be real, subsequent shows were about all of the bridge crew, but original series was about Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And here's how it goes down. Kirk and McCoy are standing in the corner at a party watching Spock lay down his game flat to Uhura, and Uhura gleefully entertaining him. And Kirk looking with deep yearning, and McCoy cracking some sort of mean-spirited joke because he's the one who's mad. Like Kirk wants to be in love with Spock, and McCoy wants to have his knees on Spock's shoulders. Okay. Anyway, the end.
Imagine being a Klingon war commander ready for war, and David in rant mode appears on the massive comms display.
Look, I had to stop watching Discovery because there was so much Klingon in it that I had to stop myself from dialing up Duolingo and learning Klingon. Now, for one, we don't Duolingo because AI. And for two, I was already learning how to play the guitar and I was training for a new career. I didn't have the brain space to learn it, and very surreptitiously learning Japanese. I didn't have brain space to learn a fictional language that I would have no one to talk to it. And so I had to stop because I was like, you're going to make me learn this language.
And yet you would have made that a priority.
Right. And even now, part of my late night mutterings to myself is stupid shit in Klingon. Anyway, continue.
I'm here. I'm still waiting to hear about this favorite musical of David, and it can't be Avenue Q.
Okay. Don't judge me. By don't judge me, I mean you are welcome to judge me, and I don't care. The Sound of Music.
I feel like someone called that. Someone called that further up in chat. Was it you, Rex? Someone called it. I'm pretty sure.
Now I'm scrolling up and having a look. I am not finding it so far.
Might be wrong. I might have misread. It was one of the first guesses. Oh no, Rex had My Fair Lady. Yeah, those two are the same in
that's
my
fair.
brain.
Anyway,
So, with that out of the way, for now, we are gathered here today to discuss Starfinder 2E. And the quick disclaimers are thank you so much to Paizo for sending us review PDFs so we could dive into them and get to know the new system. Because, as some of y'all know, I really love Starfinder first edition. I did a whole podcast, which, by the way, is coming out. The final season begins on the 15th. I'm so excited. It is scheduled. It is announced. Everything is done. We've been saying that forever, but it is official. It has been announced. There's clips up, and the season 3 recap is now up if you want to get into Starfinder, our last season of it. But Starfinder 2E, look, I had long been saying I would love for them to make a 2E of Starfinder because the Pathfinder 2E3 action economy is just mwah. It is chef's kiss. It is beautiful and perfect. But I'm like, Starfinder's too small. It's such a small percentage of players compared to Pathfinder. They're never gonna spend the time. I was wrong. Okay, like Starfinder, I feel like we've heard about that, but we would have heard about that by now, right? I know. Who knew? Who the heck knew? So I have been very excited for Starfinder. We were also terrified because they announced that Starfinder 2 was coming out as we were gearing up for the final season of the recording of Emergency Power Podcast, and we're like, oh no, are we gonna be expected to like jump system? But the thing is, we'd finished the season before it came out, so we were fine. David is not nearly as familiar with the Paizo systems as I am. And I only say that because I've played a decent amount of Paizo games. And David's mostly just read rulebooks.
right, and also, like, full disclosure, most of my TTRPG experience is second edition. I think I've played 2 games in 3.5. And then 5e. Played a ton of 5e. Played literally years worth of 5e. And I've been in games with other systems, but not anything long term.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've been in at least one Pathfinder 2e game, the long 2 seasons, which was technically 3 seasons of Emergency Power, etc., etc. A couple one-shots, couple short campaigns. A Starfinder 2E game that we played a couple sessions that I don't think will ever see the light of day. It's okay. So obviously, Starfinder 2E is new to the both of us, but the nice thing is, one of us having a little bit more experience than the other, David can ask questions, and I can hopefully answer. And if you in chat know more than me, or I say something wrong, we're doing this dropout style. All questions must be preceded by the phrase actually.
Actually.
But yes, please speak up and correct, because while both of us have spent time reading through these documents, and as I said, I have played in several games across Paizo's books, I'll still get things wrong, and that's okay. You do not have to get everything right all the time in order to be a good GM or player. That's why the rule books exist, so you could go look up the thing. So, if you have questions, please, by all means, throw them in chat. We will do our best to answer them. We have spent the past couple weeks digging through both the player core and the GM core, and we are going to discuss life in the Pact Worlds. The only way to begin is by beginning. Wait, wrong game. Changer.
Why'd it gotta be Pact Worlds? That's great. No. Also, chat has told me that my musical viewing is lacking because there are many that people thought not only that I have seen, but that were my favorite that I have not seen. Now, do I think that any of them will topple my favorite? No, but I do need to see. Anyway,
have you seen Avenue Q?
Yes.
Have you seen the Book of Mormon?
I have not. And there are a couple reasons that I haven't, which I'm not going to get into on stream. And I'm not going to say that I have beef with Matt Parker and Trey Stone. I'm just going to say that they rub me the wrong way, even when they are right.
That's fair. Do not say that. I will steal you away for a musical marathon and shove all my faves in your face. Look, Arya. He'll threaten David with a good time.
Right. Look, it stunned the shit out of me when one of my bestest friends was like, "Oh man, I saw this movie," and I was like, "You know that's a musical, right?" And he's like, "I love musicals," and I was like, "I've known you for 10 fucking years. What do you mean you love musicals?"
Lamia, welcome in.
I think your issues and my issues with those two are similar.
Yes.
But again, thank you, Paizo. Not only for giving us copies of the books, but also for being turbo nerds. And what I mean by that is, so like I said, I don't have like a whole lot of experience running Paizo or being in Paizo games, but every time I crack open a Paizo player's handbook, I find myself in the feet section. And look, their feet fetish is legendary. And literally everything you can think of. Like, I'm pretty sure in Pathfinder, there's like a bull riding feat or something like that. Where it's like, it's not just horseback riding, it's like exotic animal riding. Oh, now Kay is going to.
I'm upset because I'm trying to like quick search for this and I'm not. There is a feat. I'm just going to say this because it's never going to see the light of day. I was supposed to play Kinley as a precog / witch warper.
God no,
yeah.
Kinley is not allowed to have psychic powers. Absolutely not.
Hey Jason, it wasn't even psychic powers. Kinley could just change reality and just go like, that's what precogs do, is they go, oh, you rolled a 3. That's not going to be a good story. It's now a 12.
Absolutely not. Good gravy. Would I not want to live in that world? Oh, the level of psychic damage that I would take.
Yeah.
Kinley would be rolling d20s for damage.
There is an actual feat, and of course I can't find it quickly or easily. It is called I think it's called Inspiring Ringtone, or it's something very close to that. You hack your friend's phone and make it play a song that you know they will like, so that they will get temporary hit points. Like, you don't even just call your friend, you hack their phone to set up the ringtone, and that is the most A, turbo nerd, and B, Kinley thing ever.
Here's the thing. I would absolutely hack Kay's phone and change their ringtone, but I would change it to one of two types of songs. Either one, the most annoying song I could come up with, like the most annoying sound clip. Like, it would be solid.
Lizard.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Lizard.
30-second loop of Lizard.
Lizard.
Thank you.
Lizard.
Or like a 30-second clip out of Charlie the Unicorn.
But that. You underestimate the levels I will go to troll myself and everyone else, David. Because I don't think you understand that the ringtone for my mother, when my mother calls me, is Stewie from Family Guy, and I do not like Family Guy, but it is Stewie from Family Guy going, Mom, Mom, Mommy, Mama, Mommy, Mom.
It would either be that, or it would be, so like anybody who's chronically online understands that there are sub memes where like you take a meme and you take another meme and then you like smush them together and then you relate it to like some deep internet subculture.
Mm-hmm.
And I would specifically grab songs from fandoms that Kay is not a part of and put those on, because like right now my ringtone is the theme from Evangelion, except it's Elmo singing it. And I would put that on Kay's phone, and Kay would be like, what the fuck is this? Why is this playing on my phone? And I'd be like, yes, got it.
So
Boom, got it.
it is a two action action that lasts for a minute and has a range of 120 feet. You cause the target comm unit to play a cosmically composed personal theme song specific to its owner. The creature who owns the unit regains 1d8 plus 4 hit points when you cast the spell, and a plus 5 foot status bonus to all speed, plus 1 status bonus saves against fear effects for the duration as long as the comm unit continues to play the ringtone.
I
So
wonder
it's
how
literally
a cold
beneficial
shot on
trolling.
someone's phone. Because I could definitely see, okay, I need to shoot this person. But first, the phone's got to get it. The phone's got to come. Oh, yeah.
Mine is, David heard this the other day, mine is the Turk's ringtone. It's my default.
Mm-hmm.
I should change it back to some of the original 8-bit music from Link's Awakening, because, like, I'm sorry, it's the best Zelda music.
Whenever someone talks about certain genres of music dying, especially classical music, I always say to them, have you not watched a movie in the past 30 years? Because there are classical pieces that have been composed that you absolutely recognize and love. Like, have you ever, I don't know, seen a Star Wars? And I think,
Or played a game with Sephiroth.
right, in particular, and I think that one of, so like the brilliance of video game music composers cannot be understated, because not only do they arrange and produce these incredible pieces of music that are still like good decades later, because like there are tons of like songs from the 80s that played on the radio and even charted on the radio that no one listens to anymore. Same with the 90s. This is why people think that music in the past was better, is because they don't remember all of the hot garbage.
Yes.
And like, as someone who was like a rap fan in the early 90s, there was so much garbage. Like you can get a monkey on a typewriter to churn out a better song than some of them songs. But, you know, the original Final Fantasy was what, 1989? The original Legend of Zelda, I think, was 1989. And like, you know, songs from games in like the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. Oh yeah. Does it say it on the box? Or on the cartridge?
I'm checking. That's what I'm looking for.
Also, the advertising for that was brilliant, because it's like, what if we take a cartridge and make it gold?
Yeah.
It's like, boom,
Yeah.
got it. And I remember having my box of Nintendo games, and whenever I cracked it open to pick a game to play, I always reached for Zelda first because it was gold.
Shiny.
But you take this like really gorgeous arrangement, and not only is it good on multiple instruments, because there are songs where it's like, this has to be played on piano, this has to be played with an orchestra, but you take a song where it's good on guitar, it's good on banjo, it's good on harp, it's good on like Great Fairy Fountain from Legend of Zelda. Like you play it on harp, play it on guitar, play it on piano, brilliant, gorgeous. But not only that, but then you crunch that down to MIDI and 8-bit, and it's still good. Just the layers of that sort of brilliance is not celebrated.
I have to say this. I can say this. I'm working part-time for a games company right now. And our lead developer made the Rocky Horror Picture Show game. And working with the guy who made Rocky Horror, chiptuned all of the songs.
Yo.
But, yeah, Enter the Sandman on Hurdy-Gurdy. Yeah. This has to be played on the kazoo. But yes, so motivational ringtone is like weaponized beneficial trolling. And that's the thing. There's some absolutely wild stuff that you could do in Starfinder. And look, Paizo isn't perfect, but I'll also say this. They are queer as fuck. Like, Paizo's like, yeah, we've got gay gods. You want to be a furry? Cool, we've got furries for you, all kinds of different furries. They're actual, you don't have to reskin something else, like, have at. Oh goodness, there's so much derailment looking into different covers of different songs now, musical covers of songs now.
Right.
And that's like one of the things about Paizo games is they can be incredibly difficult to get started character building without a program to help you build your character, simply because there are so many options. And there are so many options because they really do want you to be able to build the character that you want to play. I've known, like, it is known, I enjoy 5e. I enjoy other systems as well, but I do enjoy 5e. I'm not the 5e hater train. But I know so many, like, Pathfinder 2e players who came back to play a game of 5e and they're like, oh, I leveled up! And nothing really changes. Like, I don't get any real choices. You don't feel that way in Pathfinder or Starfinder, especially if you play a character with high intelligence. If you have high int, you are going to be assigning so many stat points. Oh my goodness. Every level up, you're going to be doing something. Did technically try to stay on topic earlier. I don't know if you caught the question. I must not have. Hold on. Rolling up. Yeah, I definitely missed the question. Lurking Rider. What is the biggest difference between 1E and 2E Starfinder, and you're happy about it? Then you're at least happy about it. Okay, thank you so much. Much appreciated. I mean, the big change between Starfinder 1E and Starfinder 2E is that Starfinder 2E has Pathfinder's 3-action economy. So you no longer have action, move, bonus action, reaction. You have 3 actions and a reaction. And you can spread out that in any way you want. Starfinder 2E is compatible with Pathfinder 2E. So you can take all your Pathfinder 2E ancestries, characters, whatever, and plonk them into the Starfinder universe. It's a little bit tricksy because Galarth, I've already forgotten the name of, yes, the main planet where humans, dwarves, and most other sentients are from has vanished. A thing happened called the Gap. No one knows what happened in the Gap. There's just a big chunk of time that is missing from everyone everywhere. the main home world for many species suddenly no longer exists. Absalom Station is out there floating and has a star core at the middle of it, which everyone believes was originally from that other planet. So you get a little bit of mystery to play with. That hasn't changed from 1E, but that's kind of how they went. Everyone went, okay, wait a minute.
It has links.
David's favorite thing.
Listen.
Talk. Go, David.
If you make a PDF, and I don't care what kind of PDF it's more than 5 fucking pages, put links in that bitch, okay? And so, both last week and today, I've been crawling through the core books, and it is only just now, when I was trying to find the page on the action economy, that I realized that in the table of contents, all of the things were clickable. See, Paizo, this is why I love you.
Dude. So, we talked about the Galaxy Guide before. The Galaxy Guide is supplemental to the player and GM core books. It really, in the order of things, should have come out after the core books, but there are speculated reasons as to why it came out first, and we won't get into those. Okay, sorry, what happened to the gap stays in the gap. Exactly.
But what if you're too small for the gap?
I mean, usually you're too big for the gap. That's my experience. That's my experience.
True.
So what are the big obviously 3-action economy is great. Because there's been a lot of rebooting, some things have slimmed down. There's not quite as many ancestries that you can play. My biggest complaint, and this has nothing to do with anything except for, look, y'all, we all know how it is to play a character that you really love to play. And even though you're not playing that character anymore, something in the system changed. So you couldn't play that character anymore. They changed Solarians. Solarians are no longer a charisma-based class. They're now a strength-based class, which is really, really good because they were always multi-stat dependent, which meant it was very, very difficult to build a Solarian who was actually useful. You had to do it very carefully or sacrifice certain things, usually required a dip into another class, etc., etc. But I had a charisma-based Solarian who specifically went Dex because trying to max out Dex, Strength, and Charisma was a bit much, so I just went Charisma Dex. And now that build doesn't work, and I would have to research how to rebuild them in a way that would make sense, and it still wouldn't entirely make sense. And that's fine, because that campaign is done and recorded, but it's just a personal little grump because I couldn't play that particular character without major changes. Not that I need to, not that I should.
Right. However, come.
Exactly. I understand why they did. One thing I really like about it is in Starfinder 1E, they had the Witch Warpers and the Precog, and they were two separate classes, and Witch Warpers, could pull in things from other realities. Their magic was basically like, I cast a spell that tears open a portal to a world, to an alternate reality world covered in junk. And I cause shards of junk to appear, come through that portal and attack people. Or I open a portal to a plant dimension and vines come out and grab everyone. And precogs were...
Wait. So what you're saying is you could open a portal and be like, Labubu's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that would actually be an incredible reskin of Junk Shard. Because they are junk. And they obviously have sharks.
50 years from now, you're gonna go down a couple layers in a landfill, and you're gonna find one of them ugly motherfuckers staring back at you.
I know they're popular. I don't get it. They look like a Furby and a troll doll.
Yep.
Fornicated in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
And then precogs could change the future, could alter reality, could change. Basically, you start off with the ability to change your dice rolls. You'd roll a certain number of dice based on your proficiency bonus, and then you could replace your rolls with those rolls. So if you rolled a 3, you could replace your nat 1 with a 3. So you might not succeed, but at least you did a nat 1. And if you have a nat 20, you can just go, I rolled. No. That 5 is now a nat 20. Sucks to be you, GM. And with 2EA, they went, actually, these are one class. They're now just a witch warper. And a precog is a particular way that you can influence the universe. I'm not even going to say that bit out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it needs to be Omegaverse. I think that there's no reason that's not how they function anyway.
True.
Anyhow. Oof. So yes, that's why Kinley was a Witch Warper precog, because the Witch Warper, it went from being Witch Warper and precog to being Witch Warper, and then one of the subclasses is precog.
So, speaking of roles, one of the things, so like, because I'm so firmly grounded in 5e, I often think about other systems in relation to 5e, obviously. And as a GM, when someone goes to do something, I set a number in my head and be like, all right, they have to meet or beat this number. And the way you approach arriving at that number is different in Starfinder because of the 10 over crits mechanic.
Yes.
Or 10 under crits mechanic.
Yes.
Because I was running a test game for the thing that Kay and I are working on, which we will announce at some point, I swear.
Someday.
Listen, one of us was indisposed for at least a couple of weeks, and so that threw a wrench into the work that we were doing. But I said something in my head, and I was like, okay, this one's going to be really tough. They got to like roll an 18. And they had like a +8 to the thing. And so they ended up rolling like a 24 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, even with a +8, like an 18 is still like tough to beat. You got to roll at least a 10, which means it's at least a coin flip. And for a lot of stuff, like, you know, if it's a 16 and your proficiency is +0, you've got what, a 20% chance to make that roll. And the math, the mental math changes when it becomes +10 or -10, because not only are you making it harder by putting it over 20, but you're also dramatically increasing the odds of a critical failure when you put it up there.
I am pulling something up, and I'm trying to see if it will pull up. Because I'm going to just break... You know how I said, David, every level up in Pathfinder, Starfinder feels significant? Okay, here. This is what I want. View this one,
And
please.
one of the things that I think really rewards players for stacking up those kind of numbers is because I had someone roll a stealth check in 5e of 28. And it's like, yo, that's huge.
Okay.
Except...
So, at level 11, because I was a level 10 Solarian plus another class, which is revealed very early. in actually I think it's revealed in the prologues, but it's not a huge spoiler. By the end, Soul had taken another class. Soul had a plus 17 to acrobatics and diplomacy, a plus 16 to culture.
Did you say plus 17?
Yes. And I had some of the lower bonuses of the group. By level 11, we were not regularly, but once every episode or two, or a couple times every episode, rolling 40 and over.
The way I would look at a party and be like, all right, DC is 82, go. Roll.
So,
Fuckers.
again, this is a little bit about why it's so good at... You can have two characters of the same class in a Pathfinder Starfinder party, and they feel completely different. And there were certain roles that my character literally could not pass, but Pawns only needed a 9 or a 10. Whereas, there were things that I could do. There were certain enemies when we were fighting that, like, the Mystic was like, I literally cannot hit him. I literally cannot overcome that DC. I have to figure out a different way to damage him. So yes, Starfinder 2E equals Spinal Tap. It goes to 11. So yes, for those of you who don't know, with the Paizo systems, which this is not new, but it is something to keep in mind. There's a DC, and or an armor class for your opponent, and if you roll 10 above or 10 below, that's a crit, success or failure. So if it's armor class plus 10, if your armor class is 18 and you roll a 28, that's a crit. Which really rewards you for stacking certain skills and really does help you diversify your party. Because it does require a little bit more coordination of like, okay, who's taking piloting and who's our backup in case that person is down or misses a week, right? Like you have to start thinking and coordinating that way. One important difference between Starfinder 1E and Starfinder 2E is that there is no longer stamina. For those of you who don't know, in Starfinder, you had your hit points, but before you started digging into your hit point pool, you had a stamina pool, and those recharged. It was like health that couldn't be restored through healing. There were special spells that restored stamina instead of health, and it was like a little extra bit of HP to just help you be a lot more hardy, to help you get through stuff. And once it broke through your stamina, then it would start healing your health, and those two recharged in different ways at different rates. So that's another big change. And I will call out before I go too far off because I'm thinking of it. They do, one of the really cool things about the Starfinder books is they very specifically call out, this is how you can run a game, or these are places you can go to do a much more like Pathfinder high fantasy style game or session. How you can incorporate the Pathfinder characters. Like they specifically call out how to play like low sci-fi worlds, if that's a thing you want to explore. Spin-off platformer, Starfinder and Kazooie.
And then the sequel would be Starfinder and Kazooie.
I like how you like hurt yourself with that.
Look, whenever it is rare when I pun, but when I do pun, I'm hurting both of us.
You
and
hurt
I'm
yourself
usually hurting
more than
myself
me.
worse.
It's great.
And you know what? That's fine.
Are we gonna get our co-host? Are you gonna come up? Gonna come up? Maybe? No. I'm trying to convince a cat to come up here, y'all. But yeah, I really enjoy, again, there's, oh yes,
There is.
little sir has arrived. I enjoy these, like, as Matt was saying, free action economy is so cool because, you know, if you plan ahead, and obviously things in combat can change your plans and things move around, but like combat is really interesting when you're really planning ahead because it's like, okay, I have an AoE heal, but it's a 3 action, so I can't move. So I have to put myself in the right place at the end of this turn so I can just spend my entire next turn healing. Because you don't have, like, you're not taking a first level spell and a second level spell, and then, like, or, you know, in 1E for Pathfinder and Starfinder, it was like, well, you take this spell, like, you get the rank of the spell based on when you get it. And this is like, you get 1 healing spell. And how much healing it does and how it acts is dependent upon how many actions you use to cast it.
That's good though, because like I know in 5e, so there's a lot of theory crafting that goes on in terms of combat in 5e. And one of the big arguments that people make is that healing is a waste of time. Which is part of why, one, we run the Mercer rule for potions. And also why I definitely want to run tables that are like oops all blank, like oops all rogues. Because there are multiple games I've put together where someone who always defaults to Team Mom is like, well, I guess I have to play the healer. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, a long rest fixes fucking everything.
That's one of the things in Pathfinder that's not necessarily the case.
Right. But I've seen people who have, like, clerics. Everybody thinks clerics are heal bots. Clerics have so much in their toolkit, especially if they're evil. Look, I've gone on a rant about how it doesn't take 6 seconds to drink 1.5 ounces of a liquid. And then there's also the argument, well, it's magic, so it takes time to... Your potion seller is not always selling you magic shit. Sometimes it's just a bunch of herbs mixed together that make you feel better, to stitch up your wounds. And you could call that magic, but technology sufficiently advanced looks like magic. Okay? Like, I can hold up my phone and talk to somebody literally 8,000 miles away, and neither that person nor I can tell you the fine details of how that works. And it looks like magic. And if you lived 300 years ago, you'd be like,
that would be magic.
Burn the witch. Burn the witch. And I can even grab, again, the same device and look at a menu and be like, I don't speak this language, take a picture of it, and then the phone tells me what it says in my own language. And again, burn the witch. But like, you know, you'll have a cleric who can do all this awesome stuff, but then one person will be missing 5 HP of their 80 HP and be like, you gotta heal me. I'm hurt, bro. And then the person goes, well, I will use my action to heal this person. And then that's all I did this combat. And it's like, at least with the bonus action potion thing, you then free up the person to do other stuff instead of, well, I guess I'm just going to stand here and lick my wounds this round.
How do you think whenever it's an option, I take healing word? Yeah, sure. You're down 5 HP. Cool. Bonus action heal. Shut up.
Right. But in Starfinder and also in Pathfinder, you could be like, well, I'm going to take one of my 3 actions and heal this idiot so that he stops complaining. And then the next 2 actions I have, I'm going to use on something cool. Like, I'm going to backflip and kick him in the teeth, immediately taking back all of the HP that I just healed him for.
That says, I will use my free action to ask why they ran away from the dang healer, which look, yeah, they're in related. You know, you try not to metagame too much, you know, but like, Soul got a thing that does really good things to anyone within a certain amount, and I'm like, stay close to me. And then person runs away, runs out of range. And then it's like, well, I can get everyone but that one person. Here we go. And that person's like, oh, I'm so sad I didn't have that.
It's like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe if you just like listen to me, bro, dude, fellow, guy.
You know.
And again, a very small rant, because when it comes to this specific thing of like, do not run away from your healers. My first like non-FPS multiplayer game was World of Warcraft. And while the bulk of my time was spent a tiny pink pigtailed gnome throwing fireballs, I also spent a lot of time main healing on my priest. And that then carried over to hero shooters like Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch and whatnot. But like the whole setup of tank DPS heals, for one, if you think your support is a bottom, you are incorrect. It is the tanks that are bottoms. Because if, especially in a game like Final Fantasy 14, where you hold a whole lot of power over that person, including where they stand, because the number of times that I have been in a raid and I'm like, hey, that person is out of position. Yoink, stand here, shut up. And they're like, well, why did you move me? And then a giant comet hits where they were standing. And it's like, so I didn't have to heal you, bro. But, and like, and again, this is why I'm happy about Starfinder and Pathfinder, is you can move away from the tank DPS healer format and instead be more dynamic with it.
I will also say, in Pathfinder Starfinder, not every class and not every enemy has an attack of opportunity. That is a thing that only certain classes and monsters get. So combat tends to be a lot more dynamic because you're not necessarily going to be punished for stepping away. Which is, it's always a risk. You come up against something new and it's all right. Okay, I'm gonna use one of my actions to walk away. Oh, he didn't hit me? Cool, okay. Now we know.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Also, there is a, in 5e, there is a monk class that will literally slap you with heals. It's like, I think it's Mercy Monk. It's one of those. They literally punch you with health. Also have the option to one step. Yep. You can take a guarded step, is what it was called before, but it's like a 5-foot step where it's kind of like a disengage. You just go, and then you can keep going.
And so I assume that consumes one of your actions.
Yes.
And that's the other thing, is with the 3-action economy, at level 1, you can do so much more than a level 1 character in 5e. Like, one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in GMing a game in 5e is starting
Just
everybody
letting me
level
play?
1. No. Look, Kay has taught me more about GMing and about encounter design than any book or video could.
I still think Kato taught you more, but I will take some praise.
I could argue Kato makes me think more about the decisions I make in the world, whereas you're more likely to break my combat encounter. Like,
Dude, that's not my goal.
right. AC.
I'm also sorry, Matt.
And then like another thing is, and I don't know if I was talking about it here or like during one of our games, but what Kay will do is Kay will be like, I have this interesting idea for a character. I'll take this thing that fits my character and this thing that fits my character. And it just turns out that amalgamation breaks whatever the fuck you had planned.
The whole reason I got to play Soul was because it was in Starfinder, and I found a way to make it work, because they were supposed to be a Ronk, a rogue monk, and I literally broke 5e by level 3. Level 4. Level 4 5e was broken. It's gone. So I had bonus action disengage. Any weapon was a holy weapon. I could give myself advantage to get sneak attack. At key points so I could stunning strike.
Guys. And yeah, and like going back to my original point, like a level 1 character in 5e is a useless lump.
It's a coin toss if you're gonna live or TBK.
Right. Because back when I played 2nd edition, my GM was like, listen, you do roll down. Like whatever you roll for your stats is what you roll. And so when we were, one of our characters was, I want to say, a fighter. Yeah, because that was when I had a bard. One of the characters was a fighter. Rolled a 9 in Constitution. And then when it came to roll HP, rolled a 2. And so literally first round, level 1, first encounter, first thing that swung at him, knocked him down. And I'm like, for a fighter, this is not fun. Nothing about this is fun.
Yeah.
Boo. Which is one of like my personal house rules is you get your full hit die. So if you're a wizard and it's like what, 1d6 for a wizard, then you got 6 HP at level 1. Go. Like, and then like the next level you get another 6 HP. Because this whole bullshit of like, if you're a fighter and you roll a d10 and you roll a 2, a 3, a 1, and a 1, then you are a level 4 fighter with 7 HP. And there are level 2 mobs that can hit you for 7 HP.
Lurking Rider. I broke the world for you, DM. I appreciate the sentiment, but I didn't want you to do it quite so literally. Throws 3 notebooks in a bag and gets out a new one.
So the thing that Kay and I are playtesting right now, just last session, Kay comes up with a thing that almost breaks the entire story.
Dude.
Yeah,
What did I do?
I haven't told you about it yet. Kay looks at a tunnel and is like, oh man, stuff comes out of this tunnel, let's collapse it.
No, that was not me. That was not me who said that. Stefan said, we need to stop that, we should collapse the tunnel. And I said, well, I'm smart. Can I figure out how to do the tunnel collapse without killing us?
True. But not only...
Correction, my character is smart. I'm not smart. Character was very smart.
Not only does Kay manage to collapse the tunnel, but deprives me of TPKing the whole fucking party. Because I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a DC like 18 check, because already shifted underground tunnel has no experience mining. Go for it. Try to collect. Then it's just like, boom, 22. Or was it a 24? It was something over 20, and I was just like, God damn it. I was going to take such delight in killing everybody and then going, okay, now we can like go back to before you did this. But just describing anyway. But yeah, like, and this is why it's important, and like, you know, Matt can attest to this. This is why it's important to like playtest stuff, because not only to like figure out where the gaps in your storytelling are, but also to practice dealing with those curveballs. because improvisation is a skill. It's a thing you practice. So if you think to yourself, oh man, I'm bad at improv, we were all bad at improv at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Just like writing, you have to practice and then you'll get better. Because I even had one player come to me and be like, hey, like we're having a good time, but are you getting any like useful data out of this playtest? And I'm like, yes, not only did I learn these things about the story we're trying to tell, but also it's good practice for when y'all throw me curveballs. That's why you were invited. That's why we were playtesting. Because no matter how many things you try to cover, no matter how streamlined you think your story might be, they're gonna come up with something that you didn't think of. Like we broke not the first game that Kay and I played in. One of the players broke not just the encounter, not just the session for that campaign, but the entire game. Because they looked a noble in the face, was like, I don't like you. I punch him in the face.
No.
And
Punched him in the dick.
oh yeah, kicked him in the dick. And then another player went, oh well, secret hook hand comes out and stabs the guy. And they were like, okay, we're running now.
So,
And the GM was just like, oh man, what do I do?
yeah,
I can't believe you've done this.
I got to go home and think about what to do about this now. I did want to, when you were talking about, yes, Matt says you got to get into improv because every table's going to throw something at you that you wouldn't think of. Not that I've ever done that to Matt. More than once in the same game. I'm sorry, Matt. It was not my intention. But I do want to pull out. So one of the things that they have in this book, in the GM core, is helping you figure out how to set DCs, which includes things like, minimum proficiency. So this will tell you, what you need. But I specifically wanted to call out this little chart, which is a very cool little thing of stealth and disable DCs. So this tells you, like, at what level, what does a low roll look like? What does a high roll look like? What does an extreme roll look like? How difficult do you want it to be? This is where you're going to help you get your numbers from. How to get DC. Give him a Diet Dr. Pepper. I mean, look, I'll have priorities, right? And
Listen,
like,
the doctor can fix anything.
And like, it talks about like level 17, an extreme DC is 46, a high DC is 43, a low DC is 36 to 33. And this is why I call this out, because if you're from 5e and you hear the DC is
24,
36, it's a low DC at 36, your brain melts. You don't know how to deal with that. Or yeah, just mention a new Obsidian plugin. Exactly. That's how you get DC, Rex says. And like, yeah, they have hazard defenses, how much this do. They have lots of charts, but they're also like specific to certain things, and not just like, those y'all know. If you know, you know. Pathfinder came out of the 4E debacle with the new what was the OGL scandal back in the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the switch to 4E, which was a lot of charts and graphs and roll tables that were excessive, were not necessarily fun, according to much of the community. I know people who feel otherwise. They're not people I love playing with, but they're entitled to their way of playing. So it is not a 4E level of here's a shit ton of charts, but like here's a bunch of charts so you can very quickly, especially if you're new to the system and you're trying to figure out they need to be stealthy at level. We're at level 6. What's that? Hold on. Scroll. Flipping through the page quickly. A low stealth for level 6 is going to be 21 to 19. Cool. They just have to sneak past something easy. 20.
Yep. And I think a really so another reason why you play test things is because especially when it comes to like video games, you could tell that people who had decision-making power didn't play the game. Because something like the chart that Kay just showed us screams to me a person on a design team was like, all right, someone who's coming from 5e is going to have trouble shifting from 20 is bad to throwing somebody a 40 DC. So we should give them a way to estimate. And in so many things, like so like, you know, the Starfinder is set in the future. There are starships, there's piloting. And one of the things I looked up was ship-to-ship combat because, you know, my chain of thought was...
That is so improved from 1E. In case anyone is wondering, ship-to-ship combat in Starfinder 2E, it's cinematic and it's so much better than 1E. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've dealt with ship-to-ship combat in 1E, in Starfinder 1E, you know.
And my train of thought was, one of the pages has a picture of just different weapons, and I was like, that thing is cool. That sword is cool. That sword is cool. Wait a second, they're laser beams. Why would you ever go into melee? Spreadsheet. And then I was like, okay, well, there's a piloting skill, and you know, different roles on piloting do different things. But that means starships. That means space-to-space combat. And 5e does not have horse combat rules. Not even like because like one of the
closest
like,
you get is the
ones.
mounted combatant feat, which means that you take damage instead of your mount.
Right. And so I was talking to one of my buddies, and we actually like planned out a whole custom mechanic for how to do a stagecoach heist. Because they're just mechanically not a possibility in 5e with rules as written. And it's like, this is one of the stalwarts of not just Westerns, but like any sort of medieval setting, like Robin Hood, one of the icons of like medieval storytelling, robbed stagecoaches. So like either you have to gimmick a way to stop the stagecoach, or you have to build a whole new thing for. And with Starfinder, they have starship combat, and I didn't get super far into it, but I think it has boarding mechanics as well.
What about cosmology? I am going to flag this up. One thing that Starfinder is very good at is helping GMs figure out, like, they have an entire module here on, like, building your own adventure, right? It's often easier to run an adventure you made yourself, but that's not for everybody. It talks through, like, how to research and figure out what you need ahead of time. It also... and again, I said this before, Paizo is queer as fuck, and we love them for that. Like, we really genuinely love them for that. Specifically has multiple pages and sections on safety tools, sharing responsibility, and hold on, I'm trying to find this one passage that, of course, I can't find now because I've been scrolling too much. But like right here, they've got this whole section on responsible play, and it talks about lines and veils. It talks about the X card. It talks over here. Okay, look self. There we go. It talks over here about like objectionable content and how to handle things like that. It even further down, they specifically have a section on things like mental health and mental illness and how you need to be conscious of everyone at the table and how playing out those things might affect them, right? That is obviously very cool and very good to see. It talks about, it's very new GM friendly, and that it talks about like the pacing of a game. It straight up tells you if you'd rather run your own world, do it. If you want to run an adventure, do it. It even specifically has like a section on here's how you can take from our canon, take bits and pieces of it and put it into your own world. Like it encourages you to go a la carte if that is the thing you want to do. And like there's a section on consistency and fairness, and it's really good. It has a whole section on saying yes but. So I'm very impressed with this whole, resolving problems. There's a section on problematic players. There's a section on how to remove a player from your game if they're a problem. Like, really genuinely impressive that they took the time before you get into the true meat of the book to be like, hey, GM, here's some stuff you're going to have to deal with. Here's some guides to help you out. Question 3, how does the star aspect come into play? By which I mean, are there provisions for interplanetary, interstellar, intergalactic, extragalactic travel, interplan? Yes. Adventures can be entirely in space. Within the world, there is a new and manufactured god. They are an artificial god called Triune. And Triune is the god of the drift and space travel. They put the god Triune created the drift beacons, which allowed sentients to move between drift beacons at warp speed, basically, and actually travel the galaxy. It is within the world, within canon, that the drift beacons break down. This is not new to 2E. In fact, one of the major plots in season 3 of Emergency Power was that the drift beacons were on the fritz. And I'm trying to find... So, like, yes, this is a very well-established part of this world's lore. I'm going to open this back up here. This is a map, a small map of the Pact Worlds. This is just one star system, and this is the home system for most species. There is another place within near space called the Veskarium, which consists of Vesk 1, 2, 3, and additionals, which waged war with the Pact Worlds, but peace has happened. So you can travel near space between all these different planets. You can travel, or you can travel within the galaxy, within the solar system, to within those planets, which include things like Absalom Station is a spaceship, is a space station. It's Deep Space Nine. There is no planet. It isn't an asteroid. It's a completely manufactured space station. There is an asteroid belt filled with different little stations and like civilizations built on asteroids, as well as inhabited planets and moons. Then you can go into near space to the Veskarium and its planet, its star and systems. Vesk also is decently big in, is important in the Emergency Power podcast. And then there's bar space as well. You can travel through the drift. So yes, you can play completely in space. You could do a Star Trek-ish thing here where it's like, oh, we're gonna travel to the farthest drift beacon and then like fling ourselves out and see what we can find. Um, so yes. My writer cogs are whizzing and spinning in my brain hearing all of this. Yes, it is a large thing. And then again, there are some worlds that are more resistant to technology than others. David's first thing is like, why would I use a sword? There's lasers. I played a character in Starfinder who had a sword made out of light. And they could shoot, but all they wanted to do was run up and stab people.
Yeah, why bring a sword? Why bring a knife to a gunfight?
Well, see, here's the thing, David. That sword is attached to their soul and they cannot be disarmed.
That's fair.
You take their sword away, it returns to their moat, they just grab it again as a move action.
That said, I always think, okay, to be clear, I am someone who loves swords, who loves bladed objects. But for me, the one redeeming point of Star Wars is the lightsaber. Lightsaber cooler than anything, full stop. However, we've all seen the scene from Indiana Jones where dude's like, oh man, look at this big sword I got. I'm going to cut you up. And Indiana Jones is like, bang. I'm just like, yes. Listen, we were all made in God's image, but Samuel Colt made us equal. Okay. Like, bang.
Through my shenanigans, of which you know all about. Basically, GMs at one point, GM said, "Yeah, you can't do that. That's too far. You've got to travel like 6 stories, basically, down 6 stories without hurting yourself, which would have been out of range for a gun. Just about any gun short of like a rocket launcher. I did that in 1 turn. And still was able to do a thing. Because shenanigans. And it basically ended with GM going, yeah, don't tell a Solarian they can't go somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
And also, as a general rule, don't tell K shit. You're going to be wrong.
I mean, K will, the number of time K goes, this is bullshit. I know this is bullshit, but can I? And like, I feel like a solid 85% of the time, it's like, hey, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, roll for it, but yeah. So yes, you can spend the entire thing in outer space, and also, again, you can go to planets where they haven't achieved spaceflight yet, right? And they're still using more primitive weaponry. Or there are planets that are, like, one of the planets is Akaton, which is it's really funny because I'm also reading a Pathfinder book right now. And it's Pathfinder that we haven't explored space, but Akaton features heavily in it. And I'm like, I've been there, because we went there in season 3 of Emergency Bar Podcast. I'm like, I've been there. I know that place. It's a desert world that is dying. It is covered in radiation and a sandstorm, and it is actively dying. There are pure water worlds where the player characters who are otters come from. There are otter people that you can play.
Where you can find Kevin Costner.
I'm glad you can always find a way to fit in the Doctor Who reference, Lurking Writer. We appreciate your service. So yes, there's a lot you can do. And again, this like literally breaks down. Yes. Thank you, Ribbonanza. Like the GM's guide will break down like, what do you need for this? Like, how can you run these things? Meanwhile, the player core is all like, so we heard you like feet. Well, we're Paizo and we've got a feet fetish. So here's, how many pages are they actually?
That's a good question.
The other fun thing about Starfinder is that you get augments. And you can literally augment your body to get extra talents. They're in an otter world. Yes. Hero points, action, movement, effects, afflictions. Did I not go far enough? Where's feats? I want the feet fetish.
215.
Thank you. 215. Oof. Yeah. So, I'm gonna turn this little window back on for y'all. Chapter 5, feats. And then I'm just gonna start scrolling. And these are just
Not for a while.
the general feats, right? And then here's additional lore on them. There's a lot, y'all. Look at that. Look at that art. Urgh. Mighty Vesk powerlifter. So, like, yeah, these are just feats. You can. We're down to use. Are we at the end? Okay, there we go. Then what do we got here? Oh, wall jump. It keeps going. And then what do we have here? And then we get onto equipment. So, yeah, there's a little bit you can do to customize your character with feats, with augments, with just general class abilities. You get to pick from a lot of different things. Question 4: how chunky are the page count physical weight? But I only have the PDF, so I cannot answer the chunk or the weight. Though I will be able to after PAX Unplugged because I am going to go talk with them. The player core is 466 pages.
And the GM is 261.
Yeah. So, you know, player core is definitely chunky because, again, you've got a lot of options. And then on top of that, the Galaxy Guide is out, and Galaxy Guide gives you additional ancestries, additional classes, and even more feat. Because we all need feat. But, let's see. For reference, if I pull out, if I pull out the player's guide, that is 380-ish pages, including the index. The player's guide for Starfinder 2e is chunkier than the 5e player's guide. The GM's core is less chunky than the 5e player core, GM core. Like large repositories of knowledge, and I do not utter a falsehood. Like big books, and I cannot lie. Thanks for hanging out, Ribbon. So yeah, they are large enough that they definitely take a while to load. Definitely take a while to load. And the Starfinder 2nd edition Alien Core, which is basically their monster manual, comes out in November.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be... Look, when I first started playing TTRPGs, the book I spent the most time... And my buddy had a stack of the 2nd edition books. He had PHB, DMG, and Monstrous Main. The book that I spent the most time was the Monstrous Main. And there have been times where Kay and I have been like working on a thing, and Kay's like, "You got to stop looking at monsters so we can like finish the thing that we're doing." And I'm like, "Listen, this thing is cool."
I found something new. But again, like a good chunk of the GM's core is dedicated to like, it's not just like facts, but it's also pretties. Like they give you a little flavor splash of like, this is Castrovel. It's one of the planets. It gives you flavor text, gives you like basic breakdowns, lots more information. That's what the planet looks like from space. Absalom Station. Again, this is not a planet. This is an artificially constructed space station. Deep Space Nine, David. And again, it tells you, you know, gravity is normal. 1 year, 1 day, artificial days.
The real question is, can you punch Gul Dukat directly into his ship?
Probably. This is what it looks like from space, right? Akaton, which I spoke about. This is the dying desert planet. So you get these really cool, like you can come to understand what the thing looks like just by glancing. And then again, they encourage you to take what you want, discard what you don't want. And, you know, oh, I want to take this. I'm going to steal this bit of this for this. And, you know, recent events breaks down what, what's been going on. What are people thinking about, concerned about? What's the government like? What's the capital? What's the population? And again, there's all the nice little, not just flavor text, but like pretties. We appreciate the pretties. We really do. Like
And-
that place. Come on. Who doesn't want to go on an adventure there?
Well, I am not the adventuring type, so I absolutely would not. But
you
y'all
don't
could
want to
go.
deal. You don't want to deal with floating space maggots.
Absolutely the fuck not. Good gravy.
Thank you for hanging out, Exile. Yeah, David.
Ooh.
Jump to page 171. On sorry, GM.
Okay.
Can I sell moons?
Absolutely. Fucking lootly not.
You don't want to be there?
No. If no. And look, the former sheriff of Maricopa County in Arizona briefly ran a scam where he and his wife had a company that would charge you $10,000 for a down payment to be on a rocket ship for civilians to be in space.
Mm-hmm.
And boy howdy, I can't think of how anyone could extort that money out of me. Because it's like, hey, do you want to go up into space where, like, you know, the ships blow up either on their way up there or on their way back? And then even if they don't, you're in space where the entire area is trying to kill you? Where a rock smaller than you could see could blow your whole shit up? Absolutely not. And now there's a problem with garbage in space. So not only is debris that's already out there, but garbage that we put up there could also kill you? Absolutely. No, thank you.
Yes, the cat folk are very specifically a playable race. And with that, we are going to be wrapping up here in a moment. So if you have additional questions, now is the time to shut them out. They are Pathra. They're a feline species. And yeah, they cute. They real cute.
Look, what teed me off to how queer Paizo was is how many of their species had more than 2 arms.
Look at how dapper this sir is. Look at how dapper this cat is. Like, let's go. But yeah. So again, if you have any additional questions, like, I know we were a lot all over the place, but there's a lot to cover and we are chaotic. So thank you as always for hanging out. Thank you for asking questions. As you all know, I love Pathfinder. I love Starfinder. So I'm so excited to get my paws on these and be digging through them. Thank you again to Paizo for sending us these books to review and share with you all. Hopefully you are as excited as I am. David, did you have any last questions about Pathfinder, Starfinder for me?
Yeah, questions no, but I did have a comment. And one of the things that really like sets Starfinder apart from not just other games, but other expressions of science fiction is how hard it leans into the magic aspect of it. Because like you said, you can lift all of Pathfinder and put it into Starfinder. But in addition to that, they have the whole magic system and a whole bunch of spells. And like, yeah, in like Star Wars, you have like the Jedi
Force
and the Force
users. Yeah.
And that's like, it's magic. Like get the midichlorians out of here. It's magic.
Yes.
It's space magic. which is fine because Star Wars is a space opera. But there's so many quote unquote hard sci-fi things out there where there's no mysticism. All the religions are crazy people running around, and there's no like magic. Having a world and having a system where it's like you can catch a bullet or a laser beam or a magic rock hitting you in the face. Like you can levitate with magic boots, or you can levitate because magic says so. I think really opens up not just a more dynamic way to play, but an almost infinite number of more story options. Because one of the cruxes of your game could be, is this technology or is it magic?
And one of the strongest selling points that I can ever say for Starfinder, you know the meme of wizard with a gun? I might be out of spell slots, but I'm not out of option. That is 100% a legitimate and a valid play style for Starfinder. Lurking Rider wants to know, when will we have another deep dive on this topic? I am happy to talk about Starfinder, Pathfinder all day. As you might be able to tell from the show, I definitely need a little bit more like guidance on what do you want us to deep dive on? What do you want us to nerd on? Throw in questions. Like if you are not in the Discord, which I know most of you are, if you're not in the Discord, ask us questions. Email us like, hey, I want to know about X, Y, and Z. Break down, what are the ancestries? Because there's a lot of really cool, really odd ancestries that
we didn't go into ancestries. We didn't really do like Kate kind of like skimmed over some of the classes, but we
look
didn't
at this
do
guy. You could play that guy. You could play a bug guy. There are multiple bug guys you can play. The Sheeran David in 67 on Player Core. Like, look at these weird fellas you can play. They're great. Wizard with rocket launcher. I cast long distance fireball. Exactly. Like Skittermanders. You can play Space Stitch. This is literally a little fuzzy guy with 6 arms, gets hyper and can move twice in a turn. Like,
wow.
It's great. It's weird. It's wonderful. Like giant lizard guy. Right? And then in Galaxy Guide, they literally have Dragonborn. So you can be a lizard or a Dragonborn, right? There's a lot we can go into. So let us know, like, what are you excited about? The Suki, you can literally play a little mouse guy, and you literally get cheek pouches. You get storage in your cheeks. It's adorable.
Lizard.
So, David, if you want to play, what's his name? Space Hammy. Giant miniature space hamster.
Oh. I'm struggling to remember.
He's the partner of your favorite character from Baldur's Gate, voiced by Matt Mercer.
Oh, Boo! Oh,
Thank
man.
You.
Boo. Listen, we love Boo in this house.
Yes, we do. Miniature giant space hamster. Yes. Like, you can do that. You can play androids. You can play undead. There's literally an undead class.
There are 2 undead ancestries.
Mm-hmm.
Or
and
no.
And
I think it's one, and then there was like another one.
Well, so there's an undead
weird.
ancestry where you can play any ancestry. You don't have to be an undead human. You're just an undead version of whatever ancestry you wanted to play. I played an android in this. Like, it's really fun. Look at this rainbow bright little freaking guy. Like, okay, I'm done. The art is fun. The characters are fun. You can really go wild in this. So thank you again, Paizo, for sending us these. We will love to do other deep dives. If you're into it, we will absolutely just let us know what you want us to focus on, because again, there's so much we could cover. David, who the heck is you and what the heck has we been doing here?
I not only have a lot of musicals to watch, but also I'm looking forward to the...
Sorry, continue.
the spell well, not spell. I am looking forward to the Monstrous Manual version of Starfinder that's coming out in November, because I think my next step in my exploration of Pathfinder / Starfinder is encounter design. But hi, I'm David, and this has been, and will be the Chaotic Wholesome Tuesday Table Talk Show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
And I'm Kay. I'm here every Tuesday doing this. You can find me Saturday over at Dax's channel doing a Star Wars game for charity. Again, we'll be back here the following Tuesday. We are going to be lining up more guests soon-ish, but we've got to sort out a few things first. That's an us thing. But you will also find David here on October the 4th, because we are doing a very special stream. Do you want to talk about that, David?
So, as y'all know, I was hospitalized for a time, and obviously I was unable to work during that time, and I have been unable to work since because I have been recovering. And recovering is going well, even though it's a little bit slower than I anticipated. But unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic hellscape where you need money to live. And so, if y'all are able, I am hoping you can contribute to my living fund, because I do like living. And if hopefully if we hit our goal, I will also have extra money for getting me to PAX, and for PAX expenses. So if you can, great. If you can't, please just, when the what do they call blue sky tweets?
Skeets?
Because I know skeets. When the skeet, uh,
Yeah, you and Candace.
when the post arrives, please, share it. And if you could contribute, I would be incredibly grateful. And I'm still planning on attending PAX, but every little bit helps. Please and thank you.
We have come up with some very fun ways for you to torture David. Going to be playing a game that he enjoys
Yes.
on the 4th. But if we reach a goal, he is going to be forced to switch over and play Default Dan, which David is not allowed to look this up. He has not been allowed to look this up. But if you have not looked up Default Dan, please go look up Default Dan and laugh at how much this will irritate David. If we reach our second goal, then David will play a horror game. David hates horror games. In case you don't know this, David hates horror games, and you'll be able to vote on which horror game you will be inflicting upon him. And last but not least, if we go above and beyond that goal, every single person who contributed, was it 50?
100.
100?
Yeah.
Every single person who contributed is going to get a PC game code. So, thank you all. Horror video game or horror TTRPG. Video game, though.
The horror TTRPG will come next year. I'm already cooking something up. And I didn't think we would be known as the horror TTRPG channel, except that we just stumbled right into it.
Yeah, somehow that happened. So thank you all again. You are awesome. As always, you've made my evening better. Thank you for being so engaged and so full of questions, and forever constantly reigniting my never extinguished excitement to be in this space. We're going to go find someone to raid, but as always, be kind to yourself, be excellent to others, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.